I've got to go and check the air before we start here.
What?
Go and check the board before we start.
No, you've just done it on the camera. Where are you going?
I thought so.
You've been quite good on Twitter.
Have I?
I would if I was to summarise in an emoji, I'd do a little fire one.
You don't like drinking gravy?
Never had it before.
You never had a bottle?
No.
You're losing points for being on the podcast every second.
Good.
Thanks for that input.
Before we get into the Villa, I had a bit of a...
It would be silly to start with Villa. Podcast. Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast with Dan Bardell and Tom Julian. Just discussing Tom's lack of rotation on the shirts before we started, weren't we?
Yeah.
What wasn't I?
yeah. I mean, you were just digging me out essentially. I've got a basket of Villa shirts, and at the moment I'm just grabbing the one on top.
Basket.
Yeah, like a little wicker basket.
Oh yeah, nice.
But I'm just grabbing the one on top, and this one
keeps being on top.
Keeps being on top. So I do need to change it up. You know what I need to do? You know that different kind of sorting program. What was it? Marie Kondo.
The one that was on Netflix.
Yeah. I need to get involved in that, don't I?
Yeah, I think I caught Ange watching that.
Quarter.
Yeah. I'm not doing anything naughty, but she was watching that program.
Oh no, turn it off.
I've got my James Chester shirt on because I am still absolutely devastated by his departure.
Do you think you'll get over it? Probably not.
It's a weird one, really, because I remember being really upset when Gareth Barry left. And I'm not saying it's as pivotal to Aston Villa as when Gareth Barry left, but I absolutely just adored him. And it's a sad day. It was a sad day in the Bardell household for a multitude of reasons, wasn't it?
Surely only one reason.
Well, no, the rabbit was upset as well.
Oh, I see. So I thought we were talking about Barry.
It's two-pronged, isn't it? I'm upset because James Chester, the players, left, and I'm going to be reminded of it every day. That's what my rabbit's called.
Are you going to start to resent that rabbit?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. Absolutely love the little lad.
You don't have a Barry top, do you?
That's a good question. I don't think I do have one. I've got virtually everyone else.
I was going to say, if you don't know, then you've got too many tops.
I mean, I have got about 80 shirts. You're saying you've got a wicker basket for. Yeah. I've got two full-on drawers for one home drawer, one away drawer.
Really?
And the goalkeepers are just mixed in there, yeah.
Wow. Are you going to, when you move house, are you going to have like a separate room for your shirts?
It was mooted.
Right.
But I think since then Angela's realised that what was she thinking making that suggestion, and that there's better ways in which rooms can be utilised in her opinion.
As you can tell, we're probably avoiding, this seems to be quite a common occurrence now, but
it's just up and down, Tom.
We're avoiding speaking about the weekend result because it was just massively disappointing, wasn't it? Bournemouth 2, Aston Villa 1, a major opportunity for Villa to kind of capitalise on the League Cup.
Capitalise on a good spirit.
That would have been better if the League Cup was still the Capital One Cup, wouldn't it? Capitalise on the Capital.
I don't think anyone would have cared. But
no. Yeah. Good team spirit. Everyone's in high hopes. Going to Wembley, and then it all comes crashing down before the kind of winter break.
That's the thing, because we sit here in last week's podcast really positive, predicting wins. I think. Did you predict a clean sheet? 2-0. Yeah, so we're sitting in here giddy, buoyant, making all kinds of predictions, and then 1 week later, we feel silly and feel upset again. Yeah. That's just the way it seems to be at the moment.
There is no consistency, is there?
No, and it's going to cost us. It is going to cost us. That's a massive chance. If we win on Saturday with 3 points off 10th, and you're suddenly dragging everyone else in it, keeping other teams in the mix, and now it just feels like it is going to be out those 5 teams, and are we going to come out the top of those 5? I mean, Norwich are in big trouble.
I would say Norwich are down. I know a couple of Norwich fans, and they're kind of making life in the Championship plans.
But I always think, remember when everyone said Leicester were down, when everyone said West Brom were down, when teams were bottom at Christmas, and suddenly they just pick up results from...
but we're in February.
I know, but I wouldn't rule them out at the moment. I think they're a good team.
They are a good team.
I think they play nice football, and in a lot of games I think they're very unlucky. Like, we weren't unlucky on... I mean, maybe to a little tiny extent we were unlucky because we did have chances on Saturday, but our main downfall for me is just we make silly decisions, and I really think that's what's costing us. Above everything else, we do many things well, we do many things badly, but it is that decision making that really kills us, I think.
I think as well as that, I agree with you, we seem to have started off quite slowly in quite a few recent games.
We're going behind, aren't we, all of a sudden?
Not even that. I feel like whoever we're playing gets on the front foot, and we have to soak up that pressure before we then attack. Because obviously we went ahead against Leicester twice, and and but they come from counter attacks. You know, we're absorbing quite a lot of this pressure. Bournemouth again started a lot sharper, I thought, than Villa, and it just feels like a dangerous game. Why aren't we getting out of the blocks?
Yeah, and that's exactly what Bournemouth did do. They got out of the blocks. They suffocated Villa.
Yeah,
and we just couldn't deal with it, and that's where the bad decisions come from. At the back, people were just giving the ball away needlessly or making the wrong decision on the ball because teams are pressing us, and I don't think Bournemouth would have been able to sustain that press for 90 minutes. But what they did do was they made the most of that press in the first half and put themselves 2 up. And again, I mean, we'll come on to the 10-men thing, obviously, but the damage is done in the first half. We played well at times in the second half. We just started to get into the game when we conceded in the first half, but we give away silly goals, and it comes from bad decision making. Both goals are avoidable. Both goals come from the second phase after a set piece.
At least the second phase.
We don't switch on.
Yeah,
and we make bad decisions and we make bad mistakes, and we're 2-0 down in a game that really is must not lose at the very least. And we just make life easy for Bournemouth, and that's the annoying thing. Bournemouth have taken 6 points off us this season, and they're not a great outfit. Bournemouth, they're down the bottom. Like that's something that's going to kill us at the end of the season. To give a team around us 6 points. Without them having to do a fat lot is disappointing.
We said that at the start of the season, didn't we? You know, you don't expect to win the Spurs games, the Liverpool games, the kind of top end of the table.
You need to pick up some kind of win in those games because we're not consistent enough in the other games.
Well, that's what I mean. If you're not going to win those games, and we've had chances to win those games, which I've said throughout this season has been very frustrating. But you have to win the games against the teams that are around you.
I mean, to an extent, we have done that. You think of we beat Brighton at Villa Park, we've beat Norwich twice, we beat Newcastle. So we have done it to an extent.
West
That's just
Ham,
off the top of my head. Yeah,
we should have done better with.
I mean, there's probably more.
Probably
that
even,
we
isn't it?
I don't know, but we're in a precarious position, and I'm sure Dean Smith sent them out to be positive and start on the front foot on Saturday. Because I mean, people can say what they like about Dean Smith, but that's the way he wants to play. We know that. He spoke about it a number of times, but we just didn't recover from the Bournemouth good start. And as I say, they pressed us, and we did not know what to do. And there's a chance to silence the crowd, get the Bournemouth crowd edgy early doors, and we just didn't do that. Well,
last week we talked about the kind of success of Nakamba and Douglas Luiz. The first 15 minutes, at least, they looked overwhelmed by the 3 in midfield from Bournemouth, and like it was Gosling and Billing and Lerma. Yeah, that's it. Lerma who. They overran us, and it just felt like we couldn't adapt, and we couldn't stifle that kind of wave of attack that kept on coming.
I mean, Billing had Nakamba's number in the first half. I thought Nakamba didn't really know how to handle him, and it's Nakamba that switched off a little bit for Billing's goal. I mean, I think perhaps that's what we miss a little bit in midfield sometimes. That physical guy. I mean, Billing's a big unit, isn't he? He's got to be about 6'3", 6'4", and we don't really have anyone like that. We're a little bit lightweight at times, and he's very good on the ball as well. Billing quite assured, and he'll rub people up the wrong way as well. We don't really have that big presence in there.
No, I guess McGinn is our closest thing, where he's not a big presence, but he's niggly, and he's at you and like a terrier.
Irritating to play against.
Yeah, exactly. He's always there and frustrating. Like you say, Nakamba was totally found out by this midfield 3. It just felt like a struggle. And finally, you know, like you say, as we're kind of getting into the game in the 20-25 minutes,
because we've survived.
Exactly,
we've survived, and then we shoot ourselves in the foot like we have done so many times this season.
You have some nice build-up play again. Grealish and Target looking smart, and Douglas Luiz again going forward. Yeah, looking quite.
He could have gotten the end of one of the balls in the first half. It was like he kind of just stopped a little bit, which is a shame because he's been good in the last month or so.
The ball that Grealish has on the left hand side, where he just kind of, it's almost lazy the way he whips it into the back post, and Samatta's just not quite there, but it almost goes in anyway. Clips the post, yeah. And you think that's Grealish has been kind of doing that all season, and I shudder to think what would have happened if Grealish had got injured at kind of similar time as McGinn.
I mean, let's not curse him.
No, it's true.
Let's not talk about something like
okay. But yeah, Grealish is the architect of all our attacks, isn't he?
Obviously. I mean, he demands the ball anytime anyone's got it and anyone's in the vicinity of his area. And the players look for him because they know he's the bright spark. He's the one that's going to make something happen and unlock the defence. I look at Bournemouth's back 4 there, and Ake's a very good player, but I just think a couple of them have been with Bournemouth from League One upwards. get at them a little bit, put them under pressure, do what they did to us. I know it's easy for me to sit here and say it, but our press just wasn't there, and theirs was, and I think that was the difference in the first half. But like we're talking about, we negotiated it. But we always seem to find a way to shoot ourselves in the foot.
I totally agree. Bournemouth had a lovely chance. I think it was Wilson and I've got it here. Wilson and Billing who combine on their left hand side. No, their right hand side, and then put it across for Gosling. Gosling should bury that.
Should score at the very least, hit the target, but definitely should score. You could tell by his reaction that he knew he should score. At that point, you think, oh. That's a big let-off.
Yeah.
And then we start playing and looking half decent, but we do something stupid, as I keep saying, and that. How many avoidable goals can you concede in one season? I'm expecting us to make mistakes. We're a newly promoted side. We're a team that finished 5th in the Championship last year. I'd expect mistakes, but the volume of mistakes I've seen this season, that can't continue because we will go down.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the mistake you're talking about, Tyrone Mings, one of the mistakes that you're talking about, Tyrone Mings in 35 minutes gives a really cheap foul away.
It's needless.
And it's quite unlike Mings. I mean, Mings is a niggly player, but it just he kind of gets sold by Fraser and just clips him. There's no doubt about it. It's a booking. It's a free kick. But then it's the aftermath of that, isn't it? You know, it's not a great free kick, and we just don't deal with it. And you talked about the second phase of that play. I think it's even the third phase where we just can't get ourselves sorted.
We don't do enough to stop crosses coming into the box. I thought this season there was I think it was Liverpool at home. Their equaliser just comes from an uncontested cross. Do more. I mean, to be fair, he's shown. I can't even remember now. I can't remember if it was the first or the second one. Was it when Simon Francis was
Simon Francis on that
for the first one?
Yeah.
So to be fair, he's gone onto his wrong side. You don't expect him to whip in a dangerous ball, and he does. But we don't do enough to stop crosses. I think Hawes was the one who found himself out there. Just stop the cross. If you stop the cross, then you're cutting out all the problems.
Sure.
We don't do enough of stuff like that, I don't think.
No, but it then goes beyond that because Francis obviously puts in the ball. Again, you're right. If you cut out the ball, we don't have that problem. But then Gosling's able to head it down, and it bounces. And Billing, it's like he has a reasonable amount of time to lash it home.
It's a good finish.
Yeah, it's a good finish.
Controlled finish.
But at no point are we able to kind of get in amongst them and sort it out. And it feels like we just have so many opportunities to have got rid of that ball. Maybe not got rid of it, but at least I don't know, put a challenge in.
But we have moments in games and periods in games where I just think we're way too passive. We give too much respect, and that goal has come from being passive. Because Billing's alive to it. Villa aren't alive to it, and he's tucked it away. It's Nakamba that loses him a little bit, doesn't track him. But the whole team, there's no one really throwing themselves in front of it to try and block it. And we've had moments this season where all three of the centre-backs have made great blocks. It didn't happen for that goal, but it's just avoidable. And in those games especially, you can't be giving away avoidable goals. I mean, it's relatively near half-time, so what I would say as well is you concede one, just don't concede again. But we do it. We've got this awful habit of either conceding just before half-time or just after half-time, and killing the game. That kills the game and completely changes it.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. It's just this decision making is just non-existent at times.
Where do you think Concert was this game? Because obviously he gets hauled off at half time.
He's injured.
Do you think he's injured?
Yeah, no, he is injured.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, fine. And out for a while. Do we know anything about that?
We've got a little break now, haven't we?
Yeah,
So
of
you'd
course.
expect him to come back. I thought Engels did well when he came on, which I'm sure
we'll come
on to. But it's typical as well. We don't get rid of him. We choose to let Chester leave.
Well, this is exactly what we're talking about.
He'd have been on the pitch. He'd have been the one coming on. And now he's not there. Now, if we get another injury, we're forced to completely change formation. We know how easy it was for teams to get through us when we weren't playing three at the back. We don't really want to be going back to that. And we can't. I don't think we really can do it without McGinn. So, I mean, we've not learned our lesson in terms of numbers.
Have we got a timetable on McGinn? It must be like...
recently that like he'll be back for March.
I was thinking, I'm sure it was always timetable for March, but I haven't really seen anything
There's
from
nothing
it.
concrete, is there?
No.
Dean Smith said he was aiming to be ready for Scotland's qualifiers.
Right, I should hope not.
I mean, we could don't let him go there.
Yeah.
We could do with him back. We really could do with him back.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talked about it.
We're too light.
36 minutes, we're 1-0 down. 43 minutes, it's 2. And it comes from Villa's attack, which is the most frustrating thing. There's a kind of a shout for a free kick on the edge of Bournemouth's box, isn't it? There's a little push there. I'm not too sure there's much in it. But then Bournemouth break really quickly, and again it's another clumsy foul, and one that we've seen before from Douglas Luiz. And he complains about it, but he's got his arms on him, and I just don't think you can complain about that.
I don't think it was as needless as the Mings one. Like, I felt like the Bournemouth goal was at least going somewhere.
Yeah.
For him to give away the foul. He's got that trait in his locker because he's done it this season. Luiz, once you've given away a foul, just organise yourselves. Don't get done with virtually the same thing again at a second phase from a set play. You think once you've done it once, make sure that doesn't happen again. Make sure we go at half time the worst 1-0.
Yeah.
But we don't do it. I think it's poor from Reina.
Yes. Well, let's talk about it, because I think it's poor in stages. So Wilson hits a poor free kick.
Yeah.
We can't get rid of the ball. It goes straight back to.
Mings' clearance is erratic.
It's panicky. It goes straight back to basically where the free kick was, and then Reina parries the second one. And I've written here, without talking to you, should Reina do better with the parry?
100%.
And it goes. Essentially, it's straight into the middle of his 6-yard box, and Ake's nobody's tracking. I think it's Gilbert playing everybody onside. Ake's just waiting there, and he just has to knock it home.
And then you look at the replay and you think, because I was watching it live at home, and you think, there's got to be a VAR armpit offside in there. But oh no, that happened for us.
Gilbert is like 2 or 3 yards behind everyone else, isn't he? Again, I don't know at the Premier League level.
His decision making again.
But how much he should be aware compared to how much I think he should be aware. Do you know what I mean? But again, nobody else follows Ake. Everyone else moves up. Gilbert stays where he is, and we get caught on it.
But again, they're alive. We're not.
Yes.
Poor from Reina. Put it wider. Well, if you put it wider, they can't score. I don't know why keepers don't palm it up a little bit more. It's kind of palmed it down along the floor. You're making it easier for someone to come in and nick a rebound.
I don't know if he can. It's so low. I don't know if he can palm
it.
But
that's probably just thinking out loud.
I always thought
in a better area. They don't put it straight in front of you.
I always thought Heaton was very good at pushing it really wide, and I don't know how late Reina sees it. I have no idea, but. You'd think that he could, and a goalkeeper of his experience would be able to take that ball and send it a lot wider. But
beat it a bit harder.
Yeah.
And you 2-0 down, and you're just absolutely killing yourselves.
Yeah. So I've got here Gilbert playing everyone onside. Should Reina do better? Where's the marking?
Poor clearance from Mings.
Yeah.
It's like a catalogue of bad decisions.
Yeah.
And in the heat of the moment, you have time to think about things like Reina, for example. He's just trying to save it, isn't he?
Yeah.
And in his defence a little bit, he has saved it, and I think Ake takes it reasonably well because it's a little bit behind him. But I just want us to be a bit more alive. It again comes down to being passive.
Yeah.
Why are we not alive to the rebound?
Yeah. Villa almost get themselves kind of a goal back just before half time. Grealish, pretty much all on his own, runs down the left and
This was a big moment.
Right on the byline there, cuts in, and Ramsdale just gets lucky, doesn't it? It goes through his legs and it kind of clips his calf and goes wide. And you think on another day that goes in and we go in. All right, 2-1 down, but it's not quite as bad as 2-0, and it just doesn't happen.
No, and Grealish is unlucky again. He's looking at this point the only avenue that's going to provide a goal, whether it be from a tantalising cross or from a piece of magic in him getting off a shot. But he's playing on his own at times. I mean, I don't know whether you saw the Tanzanian fans getting on his back on social media saying Greedy should pass more. And
Greedish.
Samatta's had to tell his fans basically to not do that. That's his team.
You're going to have to learn, Tanzania, if you're going to be Villa fans.
I'm picking up a few Tanzanian followers on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I am at the moment. Everyone who seems to follow me at the moment seems to have a Tanzanian flag.
So Samatta is the first Tanzanian to feature in the Premier League, and Tanzania is the 117th different nation to be represented in the Premier League.
Thanks.
Good little fact. I've got another one for you.
Go on.
I don't know if you've seen this already because you were looking.
If I have, I've not remembered.
Samatta is the first player to score on his league debut for Aston Villa. Since who?
Can we include Championship and Premier League in this?
On his league debut.
Right, so he could be in the Championship.
Sure.
Good question, that.
Playing along at home.
I'm not sure I'm going to get it. I don't think it was this season. I don't think.
It definitely wasn't this season. Do you want the year?
No.
Great podcasting.
That's good. I think you can't just throw a question at me, so you just throw a random guess at it. You got to think about it, Tom. I was going to say Tammy, but that's definitely not right.
5.
Give me a season.
August 2015.
August 2015, so we're in the Prem then. Gusted.
Rudy Gusted.
Yeah.
Do you know who scored against?
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth,
Yeah,
indeed.
nice.
Very,
Nice.
very good.
Happy hunting ground for debut headers.
There you go. Yeah. So we go in 2-0 down.
Little quiz that. I like stuff like that. I'm a big fan of stuff like that. You don't do that enough.
Oh, right, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Really let you down over the years. So we go down. We go in 2-0 down.
Smith looks seething, by the way, at half time in the tunnel.
He's not very impressed at all. But then we come out and Bournemouth have the best chance of the opening exchange as well. Jefferson Lerma hits the bar, and again he has all the time. And
Strike that was.
It's a lovely strike. It hits the top of the bar, but Rayner's completely stranded. There's no way he's getting to it if that's a couple of inches lower.
Again, I've got to say, I was seething at half time. I mean, I've given you all the reasons in the little rundown we've done in the first half of why I was seething, but sometimes I just can't believe the naivety.
That's very cold.
There's other times where I think we look absolutely brilliant, but then we have just got the tendency to just be completely down the other end of the spectrum.
Sure.
As well, and at times you just need to find that middle ground. You're not going to be brilliant all the time, but I feel we lack the kind of middle ground. The Brighton game a few weeks ago, garbage for most of it, then really good. You need to have some sustained period where you're just okay, but we just don't seem to be able to do that.
Well,
Leicester, we were brilliant for 90% of the game. I would say I really enjoyed that performance. I just thought we dug in when we needed to. We looked dangerous on the break, good going forward. We're not consistent enough, but as I say, at times, just be average.
To throw that back at
it's
you.
all right to be average.
Seems unfair, but anyway. But to throw that back at you, the Leicester game could have got out of hand pretty quickly. Again, they started off quicker, and if one or two of those Maddison
I've seen a few
chances-
people saying that on social media, actually, that... Yes.
You know, we rode our luck there
You
again.
get what I'm saying, don't you?
I do.
Bournemouth, we're either trash or brilliant. There's no middle ground.
I agree.
Stay in the game. Why can't we stay in the game when we go behind?
A minute after Lerma hits the bar, he's heading down the tunnel.
I mean, he was a walking red card.
He is sent off for a foul on Grealish. I wanted to ask your opinion. I thought it was Grealish is looking for that.
I mean, I'm surprised he wasn't hauled off at half time, because if you think back to the reverse fixture at Villa Park and we were talking about Billing should have been sent off, he was hauled at half time.
Yeah, that's true.
Lerma was as much of a walking red card that day as Billing was. So I was surprised to see him not hauled off. I mean, I don't know whether you got the. I know you have got the teams. You got the bench in front of you.
No.
No, okay. I don't know what their options were on the bench to bring on for him, but I was surprised to see him enter the fray in the second half.
They didn't make a single sub.
Oh, really?
That's mad, isn't it?
I suppose they just went 4-4-1,
Yeah.
didn't they?
But you would have thought they'd be exhausted.
Fraser was very good for them, which was annoying because he's been completely off the boil all season, but I think he's had a bit of a sit down and admitted that he's been poor the first half of the season because he wanted to leave.
Yes.
And now he's dug in.
Yeah,
And
so-
of course, has his best game of the season against us.
And Eddie Howe had come out and said, like, fans get behind
He was good.
Fraser.
He was man of the match for me, Ryan Fraser. I thought he was brilliant all day, industrious, dangerous when he was coming forward. He's a
Reminds
small
me-
guy, but he's so quick.
He reminds me a bit of Snodgrass. Like he can create things out of
He's
nothing.
got a bit more pace than Snodgrass.
But he's diminutive but powerful and can create.
Yeah, he's a good player. He'll go somewhere in the summer, and someone will make a good signing there.
Why does he want to leave? Just because he hasn't got the time?
Contract's out. He's been linked with Arsenal and Everton. I think
Right.
he obviously just fancies the chance of a bigger move.
Fair enough. So yeah, Grealish looks for the foul. I think that's fair
harsh.
to say.
It's very, very harsh.
Grealish has been fouled 111 times in the Premier League this season. The only player to hit triple figures so far.
He's also eclipsed the most fouled player of last season already because it was Hazard.
Really?
He was 109, I think.
Right.
And Grealish has already been fouled 111 times.
That's, we've got some good facts this podcast.
Yeah, I feel like, I haven't done any research, but I just know that.
Yeah.
I've seen that somewhere and remembered it.
So again,
Only with a bit of knowledge there.
I mean,
You don't like when people are putting
I really
just
don't.
on the notes.
If it's not written down, it's not real. Often when it is written down, it's not real either. So, are you checking my facts?
No.
You are.
I'm not. I genuinely wasn't. I know they're going to be wrong.
Villa again. So Villa have the one-man advantage, which notoriously is no good for us.
When it happened, I didn't sit there and think, yes, come on, this is going to turn it for us. I sat there and thought, oh no, not again.
So again, we get the free kick, and the ball's whipped in, and then another strange event in this game. Engels beats Ramsdale to the ball. Ramsdale just comes out and clatters him, punches him right in the jaw.
You're going to have to be the voice of reason here, because one of me or Villa Mad is going to think the opposite to you. Me and him had a big disagreement on Twitter.
Right.
I'm saying stonewall penalty.
And he said no.
He's saying it's not a penalty. That happens all the time. I think he was saying. You think you don't see penalties given for stuff like that?
So one of my colleagues today said,
"You're a referee." He said you were going to be the decider.
Right.
So it's all on you.
I'm a right. So I was speaking to my colleague.
Sorry, just to interrupt as well. If you missed they had a big chance at 2-0 when they went down to 10 men as well. Wilson had a good chance. Is that on the notes? No,
it's not on the notes.
Forget that. But they did have a good chance anyway.
You've thrown me now. Sorry. What was I doing? Answering the question.
Mate was a referee.
Yeah, no, just my colleague who said pretty much the same as Villa Mad, that happens quite a lot and they're not given. And I have no idea why that's not given.
I don't either.
I mean, he's clattered him. Engels has got to the ball, so the only argument I can say is that Engels has already headed it, the chance is gone, and therefore it shouldn't be given. But if that was a foul...
Yeah.
And Engels had a strike on the floor and then Ramsdale comes through and wipes him out, that's a penalty?
If a player, right, obviously players can't use their hands. So if a player with a part of the body, a player, the part of the body that he can use is his legs.
Yeah.
Kicks Engels after the ball's gone, goes through him and stood right down the leg or whatever. You would get a penalty for that. So the goalkeeper can use his arms and his legs. The arms are a part of his body. If he comes out and punches you in the face, which is what he's done after the ball has gone, how is that not a penalty?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just unbelievable. And then what does VAR think when it looks at that? He's punched him in the face. The ref said it's not a penalty. Now let's leave it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So 2 layers of I mean, that's what Villa Mad was saying to me. Essentially, he was saying, "I'll go with what the 5 officials."
Yeah, but you can't argue that if you're going to then pick a hole in previous VAR decisions, which I don't know, I can't reference one that Villa Mad has, but I'm sure he will have disagreed with some of the other VAR. VAR gets things wrong all of the time, and it doesn't mean that they haven't got things wrong here. I'm agreeing with you, totally.
Yeah. There you go. In your face, Villa Mad.
I don't know how it's not a penalty. It's a blatant foul for me.
I don't care whether it's his hands, his legs. It's a late challenge. He's made physical contact with him in the box. I sound like Jeremy Kyle. He's made physical contact with him. It's a penalty.
You referencing Jeremy Kyle. Excellent. That might be a first.
It's not anymore, is it?
Yeah, he had to cancel, didn't it?
Yeah.
All kicked off.
I can't remember what happened, but yeah.
I don't want to. It's not one to get into. No. I don't think on this podcast.
No. It's for the Birmingham City podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Indeed. So yeah. Anyway, that's mad.
Baffled me, that did. Absolutely baffled. And to be fair, I should apologise to Villa Mad a little bit because I was irate about the decision, and what he was saying was really winding me up because I was so annoyed about the decision.
Do you think that's why he was doing it? He had you on strings, as
I
the
don't know.
kids say.
I don't know. No one sent a fishing rod or anything, so I don't know.
There you go. Then we have a moment where Grealish goes to the right hand side. I know you always like that when that's highlighted.
I don't always like it. I like it when you say it happened at the right time. That's what I like. I want the podcast to be right.
Yeah, well, that's true, and it very rarely is. Grealish, great work on the right hand side, drives it across to target, blocked by Adam Smith. Adam Smith must be the most common name in the
There's
world.
one that works here, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Again, it's
Two
another.
that work here, actually. The boxing guy's called Adam Smith as well, isn't it?
That's true. It's very frustrating. Target kind of lining up, and I mean, I think Ramsdale's behind it as well. I don't think
I
it's
think he
going
should do a
in.
little bit better with that.
Yeah.
He's hit the target, to be fair.
It's straight at in the
mean,
middle of the goal.
I
isn't
can
it?
fully take the blame for that incident because, as we say, we were feeling quite confident, weren't we, last week? So I was doing my fantasy football team.
Sticking target.
I thought, well, Target look decent on Tuesday, like he might get some goals and assists. He's 4.4. I'll stick him in as a bit of a differential. You know what else I'll do? I'll put Grealish as captain. So
Bad week for you.
When Grealish plays that ball through to Target, the gods will have just not allowed that to happen because I've made a brave fantasy football decision that no one else would have made.
Maybe you should stop.
I mean, I'm doing terrible. I may as well stop at this stage.
Indeed.
Absolute joke. What a season I'm having ever.
Then Grealish then sets up Nakamba again, who
Please don't shoot again, Marvin. It's a couple of wayward efforts.
who blazes over. I've written here. Again, should do better, but then we grab one back a minute later, and it's really nice. Samatta grabs his first goal for the club on his Premier League debut, which is great, and does really well. It's a lovely turn by Keenan Davis to get away from his man and get the shot off. Loops up and Samatta's there. Obviously, having seen what happened to
He's
Engels.
a brave boy. Ramsdale the boxer coming towards you.
Yeah, but he beats him.
Good leap.
Samatta's well beaten Ramsdale there, and great to see him get on the score sheet.
Yeah, a bit of a Tony Hawk skateboarding reference from the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1. Got some serious air.
Yeah,
I thought some good hang time in there, I thought.
sure.
Didn't he? He was hot apart.
Yeah, that's good.
He's not the biggest,
Well,
is he? But it's a big leap.
10 of his last 18 goals have come with his head.
Our first headed goal of the season.
Indeed.
Madness in February.
It is bad, isn't it? I feel like we've always talked about this podcast where we don't score enough. Like our defensive players don't score enough. Not to have a headed goal.
I mean, Mings
this
has
season.
scored one, hasn't he? He scored two, actually. The bicycle kicked one in inadvertently the other way. So Mings has hit two. Don't do enough. Hawes and Conser have both had
Conser should have done
chances
better.
in the last month where I think, hit the target, lads, come on. Less of the 50 pence head.
Yeah.
Let's hit the target.
It's true. Villa's first headed goal of the season, and then we have a couple of chances kind of late on. Grealish, Davis, Mings.
Davis was good when he came on. That was a positive.
I thought he looked really nice.
2 games running, he's looked good coming on.
I don't see him starting.
No, but I will say it's a good option. I liked that we changed the system. Got 2 up front, but Grealish as a 10 with the 2 central midfielders, Louise and Marvellous behind him. I liked that, and we looked dangerous and we were making things happen. And then he's made a sub with 10 minutes left that's just completely killed all the momentum we had. I'd go as far as to say without that sub, I think we'd probably go on and nick something.
Do you think?
Yeah. It just deflated what we were doing.
Yeah.
We lost all purpose. We were all over, and Grealish had one that flashed across the goal again. We were really making waves, and they were nervous, and they would have sat back, and I think we would have nicked something.
Do you think it's just the kind of good mood feeling from the Leicester game? Bring on Trezeguet and hope the same match.
He wanted to bring
happens
Trezeguet
again.
on. He's took Nakamba off. But what that's done is it's pulled our most effective player back as a deep lying central midfielder. That's not where you want Jack Grealish. It's not where he wants to be playing. He was doing damage higher up the pitch. Leave him where he is.
Yep.
I mean, Marvellous, as I say, I'd put a couple over the roof at Bournemouth. It's only a small stadium, isn't it? He'd put a couple over the roof. So I understand why he was pulled off.
Yeah.
But it was just the detriment what we did, because I don't think Trezeguet touched the ball. And you just completely negated all threat that Jack had. It really killed the momentum. I thought it was really bad. I mean, Smith obviously had his reasons for doing it. He'll know what those reasons was. I'm not knocking him, but it did end up killing the game, that substitution, I thought.
Yeah. Another quiet game for El Ghazi. Didn't think he impacted it as he would. And the only positive I can say about that is that probably means that something's coming, because I feel like El Ghazi goes on a little run of quietness and then is
he
impactful.
suddenly picked up about this time last year, I would say, El Ghazi. He had that spell before Christmas where he was banging a few goals. And then he started to pick up around February, March.
It's quite important in the run-in.
So I'm hoping, he's important in the playoff final. I'm hoping he can pick up again, because he's a good player. He's fantastically skillful. When he's direct and he's at his best, he's a Premier League player and a threat for me.
So Bournemouth back-to-back home wins.
That's a killer.
Again, a vital 6 points for them. And then if we look at the table here,
Put it away.
Bournemouth leapfrog Villa. So Villa now 17th with 25 points. West Ham just one below us with 24, and Watford one below them with 23. It's all very, very tight.
I mean, we should say it could have been a lot worse. The way the results went towards the end of the game really saved us.
At half-time, it looked terrible.
We were in the bottom three at one point, obviously, because West Ham were winning.
Yeah, so Bournemouth and Brighton 16th and 15th on 26 points, and then Palace on 30th and 14th.
They're suddenly not looking brilliant, Palace.
I had that. I'm sure we've talked about.
I had
this
them in the
before.
bottom three.
Yeah, I had them low, and they seem to be coming back down to where they're about. Southampton 13th with 31 points, but there's 4 teams on 31, including Arsenal. Arsenal at 10th.
Yeah, struggling back in.
Arsenal, Burnley.
They've got 13 games. That's crazy.
Yeah.
13 draws.
Arsenal, Burnley, Newcastle and Southampton all on 31. So, I mean, that's 6 points from where Villa is at the moment. We need to be putting a bit of a run together, and we were talking about it just before we started this podcast. It's difficult to see where the run is going to come from.
Yeah, the fixtures are a bit bitty, aren't they?
Spurs next.
Got to beat Spurs. Unfortunately, though, they go and win just before they're about
But
to
they
play
didn't.
us.
I don't know if you watched it. They
I
didn't.
haven't seen it yet, but I've heard about it.
They didn't deserve to win. It wasn't a convincing 2-0 win.
When do you get what you deserve?
Well, that's true. Villa certainly don't get nice things. Dean Smith said, we didn't start particularly well. They picked up too many second balls and ended up with territorial advantage.
A fair
Yeah, I thought his post-match was very fair. I wasn't happy with the first half and how we played, but the second half, after they had a man sent off, was better.
Because they sat back, that really helped us.
Yeah, we dominated possession, but not done enough to create clear-cut chances to get ourselves back, and we deserved to lose in the end. The red card was soft. There were a few decisions out there that left a lot of people scratching their heads, and I presume he's talking about the Engels one there as well.
I mean, it's a penalty. It is a penalty. I'm not making excuses, but it is a penalty.
Yep.
But like he says, on the balance of it, really, I think back to that first half, and think if you defend like that, do you deserve to win football matches? Probably not.
No. You make your own luck, essentially, at the end of the day, don't you? And if you invite the chances that we are inviting at the moment, as we've seen over the last few games, not just Bournemouth, we're going to get caught. We're not a perfect outfit, and that's going to happen. And if you put yourself 2-0 down, that's a mountain to climb.
I mean, that second one is as ugly a goal as you will see. This season. I'm replaying it in my mind because I just think it's horrible, and I just think, why Villa, why?
I've seen quite a lot of those like 90s and 80s retro football clips on Twitter, and it's the really horrible like Tony Cascarino goals that are so bitty and just end up in, and it's kind of like a modern day version of that. You don't really get that because you don't get the cloggy pitches and the heavy balls, but essentially it was as much of that as it could be.
It's horrible time. I genuinely, the last 2 nights, thought about it as soon as I've gone to bed. Thought about that goal. It's not a nice place to be in.
No, what, your bed?
Yeah, well, Andrew will tell you it's not pleasant in there.
No, indeed it is not. Anything else you want to talk about from the Bournemouth game?
I mean, we've got to try and forget it and move on again, but there's only so many times this season that you can say that. And again, there's only so many times you can say the next game is must win. We've got to take something. Yeah. But generally, when we've needed to win, we feel like we've done it a little bit.
Yeah,
I feel like I contradicted myself in some ways there, but
have we? I mean,
have you got the fixtures? Is that what you're doing?
No,
are you just perusing social media, or are you mid-podcast?
I'm just getting the questions up.
Oh, fair enough. They're not on the notes.
No.
Ooh,
I'm very busy nowadays.
Ugly, not on the notes.
Ugly.
It's not on the notes.
Oh right, sorry.
Tottenham at home, Southampton away. Got the cup final quick. We got 2 games before the cup final. Not much time for people to stake a claim to play.
3 games.
No, 2.
Oh yeah. You're right. Sorry.
Chelsea at home. Thank God that game didn't get moved to the Sunday because that's my wedding anniversary.
This is a tough round of fixtures.
Yeah, it's not brilliant, mate.
Spurs at home, then Southampton away, who are still playing well at the moment. Then Man City in the cup, Leicester away, Chelsea at home, Newcastle away,
massive,
which again is huge. Wolves at home, and then Liverpool away. It's tough to see where you're going to get a run of games.
We've looked at this all season and thought all games are hard. We don't even need a run. We just need to win 5 games from somewhere.
Well, that'd be nice.
Basically,
we just need to win
That's
some
what we
games,
need to do.
don't we? Hang on. Having all sorts of technical issues here.
Where's he going?
There it is. Yeah, that's it.
It's not it, because it's 39 minutes gone, mate.
I'm
just expecting another 20.
I'm just trying to find the questions here. There we go.
Do you want me to find them?
It's because I wasn't tagged in it.
Oh, yeah, I did forget to do that, to be fair.
Interesting that you tagged yourself in it.
I was in a bad mood. I was letting people know.
But is that a little bit of a kind of ego thing there? You're just
really?
oh, yeah.
I mean,
Bardell.
There's clearly a picture.
Mention me. Mention me.
I don't need the mentions, mate. You need the mentions more than I do.
We're getting a lot of questions that are like unrelated to Villa, and I
That's
think
pretty much what I wanted.
I think that's
why I said I was in a bad mood.
that sums it
And
up.
I was in a bad mood. I've not enjoyed today at all. Seeing you's perked me up a little bit, to be honest. And going to the gym and feeling successful for doing some exercise, followed by seeing your silly little face, has cheered me up a little bit.
Villa Mab references that your beef with him, and
Oh, you've lost Villa Mad, because Tom Julian, the voice of reason, has come through on my side.
the voice of reason. That's nice.
I felt like that was what he was saying.
Yeah.
You're the refereeing voice.
Stephen Deakin says our inability to beat top teams could be our downfall. A lot of other teams
Our
pull out.
inability to beat a lot of teams could be our downfall.
And it's kind of like our inability to beat teams,
Yeah.
isn't it, at this stage? A lot of the other teams pull out a shock result every now and again. Why don't we?
We did on Tuesday, but unfortunately it was in the League Cup. Not unfortunately, but it was in the League Cup.
Yeah.
Need a bit more of that in the league.
We've talked about this kind of all season, haven't we? Where we've been in the position to beat the big teams, like leading against Spurs, leading against Liverpool, leading against Manchester United, Arsenal. And
That was the one.
if you don't, well, Liverpool was the one.
I know, but Arsenal still haunts me to this day because we gave them so much respect. They had 10 men for the majority of the game. We were 2-1 up. Here you are, Arsenal have a couple of goals.
Yeah. Very, very annoying. Casho76, is the problem psychological? Dean Smith talked about in his post-match about how it's not about they're already focused on the League Cup or anything like that. And I don't think, like, we're still creating chances. It doesn't feel like we're a beaten side.
No.
It just feels like we're making uphill battles for ourselves.
I think it's not about it being psychological. I think it's just about making the right decisions on the ball, and I think too often we make the wrong decisions with the football.
Lou tries to bring back the positivity here. Our record over the last 5 Premier League games is 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. Only Liverpool, Man City and Southampton have better records. I accept that we were poor at the weekend and losing to Bournemouth isn't good, but do you think balance is getting lost in the catastrophising?
She's throwing me a bit with that last sentence.
Catastrophising, is that a real word?
Yeah, I don't know. You're the voice of reason.
I am the voice of reason. I think there is, again...
It's a valid point what she's saying.
And I think we've talked about this before, haven't we? In the kind of social media age, there has to be a hot take and a reaction to everything, doesn't
You get
there?
too high with the highs and too low with the lows, but I like to think I don't do that too much. But I got to say, Saturday got to me. It's stupid.
Ty Bracey says, I love Tom Julian, which is always nice to hear. Thank you for that.
Never met you. You never spent a prolonged period of time with you. How does he know he loves you?
We've chatted. I think you know, don't you? When you know, you know.
Yeah.
You know. How big an impact Tuesday's game? How big was an impact on
Struggling with this
Tuesday's
one,
game?
aren't
There's definitely a word missing here, Labash. I felt the players were all gassing after Leicester and wasn't really hopeful of a result against Bournemouth, although we weren't a million miles off it. Other results really went our way. What do you think about that? The League Cup final taking it out of Villa a bit?
No, there's enough time to recover for Saturday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, Saturday. If you played Wednesday, you could maybe use fatigue a little bit. Not when you played Tuesday.
Yeah. I agree. Julian B, JB 888. Why is so much made of supposed transfer links when once again the journalists, both local and national, supposed in the know Villa fans and Sky Sports
I laid off it the second half of the week.
have been shown to be guessing 99% of the time when it comes to accurate stories? Interesting question. Then, you know, it feels like transfers are harder to get now because the stories don't get leaked, or if they do, there's so many agents leaking different things and false things and all that kind of stuff. So again, does it come back to this kind of need for information, whether it's misinformation or not? We're just desperate for content, and therefore people prey on that by leaking.
You can
stuff.
be in for a player, be genuinely interested, make bids, really, really want him, and it not happen.
You're talking about Butland.
No, well, that is one example.
Yeah.
I was actually talking about Jay Rodriguez.
Right.
You can be in for a player and really want him, and it just not happen. The team don't want to do business with you. But it doesn't mean that what's been published is a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
Does it? If you want him, you want him. It just because it doesn't happen. That doesn't change that. That's what a lot of these stories are. Villa are interested in such and such. Such and such is on a list. Just because it doesn't happen doesn't mean that those things aren't true. You bring up the Butland one. It's a prime example. It is because I'm not the only person that got caught out with that. I know other people who were well informed that knew that was happening.
Yeah.
And it just whatever happened, the goalposts were moved in the last minute. Again, just because it didn't happen doesn't mean that we weren't this close to getting him. Like things change. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of guff that's reported as well. But generally, I think a lot of the stuff that he's reported is spot on. Just transfers are difficult to do. And if you bought every player that you were interested in, every team would make about 20 transfers a month. Well, in the window. Yeah,
it's true. Let's talk about one of the transfers then that we didn't get to because it came after we did last week's podcast. Borja Baston.
Is that how you say it?
Borja Baston.
I think it's just Borja Baston, isn't it?
Borja Baston.
Is it? Borja.
Yeah.
I'd like to say I know anything about him other than the fact he's flopped at Swansea.
Well, so it's quite an interesting. He's played 38 times for Swansea, only 7 goals, but he scored 5 and 5 to start the season. We're not going to sit here and say we know everything about him, but that
I know they signed him for big money at the time.
15.5 million in 2016 from Atletico Madrid. He barely played at Madrid, but had good spells at Zaragoza and Eibar. You know the fact that he scored 5 and 5 shows that there is some talent there. He knows where the goal is.
He started the season well.
But maybe it's a confidence thing, or do you think he's going to get much time at Villa if Samatta's fit and Davis is fit?
The way the season's gone so far, everyone else will get injured and he'll be the only striker left.
No, it's true.
Depends on injuries. He starts off as third choice. As I say, I think Keane has made a good impact in the 2 games that he's come on in the last week or so. Anything happens to him, I think Baston there on the bench. They obviously couldn't get another striker over the line, so they went with a gamble. Well, a calculated gamble because he's not really costing us anything, is there?
No, he's not.
I think the reaction to signing him, I know people have got high hopes with transfers and it will do business, but I don't think we were ever going to spend massive money this window.
No.
If we hadn't have got him, I'd have been concerned because we'd have then been in a worse situation striker-wise than we were at the start of the season. I think we can all say at the start of the season we questioned the strikers that we had available.
100%.
There's a massive pressure on Samatta to stay fit and do the business. If he's a useful option off the bench and he gets us a couple of goals, as I say, it's a cheap deal for the club. At least they've got someone in. Because if we hadn't got anyone in, we're then not that far away to having El Ghazi up front again, and I don't think we looked good with that.
No, for sure. So let's have a grade from you then from our transfer window. So we brought in Samatta, Baston, Reina, Drinkwater. Obviously, Kodja leaves on a permanent, and then Kalinic, Hogan, Green, Hepburn, Murphy, and Chester all depart on loan.
So Hepburn Murphy hadn't been doing well at Tranmere, so I'm surprised he then got a loan move to Derby in a higher league.
So I looked at Transfer Market and they have it labelled as Derby under 23s that he's gone to.
I mean, possibly out of contract at the end of the season, maybe is one that they're looking at. There's another generation of Villa Youth Team players that are all probably going to leave, having not really...
Andre Green as well.
He's done well at Charlton so far.
Yeah,
he scored again at the weekend.
Didn't he? But I mean...
the week before. He scored against Preston as well.
What I mean is that he's out of contract, isn't he?
Hogan scored as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Hogan scored. From that terrible photo of him.
It's amazing
really
how you can
sad.
bounce back from being in captivity.
So, on the face of it, good players come in, and we're letting players that weren't playing go.
I mean, I look at the outs and I'm not particularly fussed by any of them until James Chester's gone on loan to Stoke. But the club, whether it's right or wrong, have given some sentiment and let Chester make the decision. Chester wants to play every week, so give himself a chance to rep in his country again in a big tournament. And after the last Euros they had, you kind of look at that and think that's fair enough, but I think it's a really hard decision that James Chester's had to make there, and I don't think he made it lightly. Incomings-wise, Samatta, great. We needed a striker of some pedigree, and we've done that.
He looks good, yeah.
Yeah. Reina, I didn't think we needed it, but in fact, good bit of business on loan. Again, good in the dressing room. Drinkwater basically is a replacement body-wise for McGinn, although they're not going to offer the same traits. I'd have preferred he was up to speed a little bit more, but it is what he is. We've took a gamble and we need him to come through, get his fitness up and be a good player for us.
Sure.
So I'm satisfied with the incomings. Like I say, Baston's low risk. In an ideal world, we'd have gone and had 20-30 million to spend and gone and bought a proper hitman up front, and got a winger in maybe Ben Rama from Brentford, who's on absolute fire at the moment.
Yeah.
But that's the ideal scenario, but it's not the world in which we're living in with Aston Villa Football Club. So
well, that takes us.
It's not a terrible window.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a 10 out of 10, but I don't think it's as bad as some people would say.
Yeah, and I guess it's a hard question to say two games out or one game out of the window, because we'll have to see at the end of the season whether these guys have had the impact that we hope they will. But like you say, all of them are fairly low risk, and Samatta's the kind of one that we spent money on, and he's looked bright and has obviously got his goal against Bournemouth, so hopefully that continues against Spurs.
Yeah, Chester's the one that's disappointed me, because I just still think there's room for him, and if he'd have been here still, he'd have been on the pitch.
Yep.
On Saturday, and I think it's annoying, but I get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Adam Wright asked for us to give us our opinions on the Christian Purslow interview that he did with Aston Villa TV.
Have a job getting that out of me, because I've not seen it.
Yeah, so I saw it just in time, and I've had a watch of it.
What worries me here is in the notes it just says Christian Purslow interview, but you've took no bullet points down, so anything that you say now might be incorrect.
Oh no, it's definitely going to be correct. I'm only going to give a quick summary, because I'm sure you'll go and watch it as soon as we're out of this booth. But it's essentially an update from Purslow on all of the things that are happening at Villa, and they're nice to hear. You know, he talks about the transfer policy, the developments at Bodymoor Heath, the developments at Villa Park, the developments with the women's team, with the youth team.
They're a real positive, the women's team.
Yeah,
really good to see.
The Louis Barry coming in, and just kind of it's a kind of a nice 10-minute piece just saying, look, we're Aston Villa, we're doing all of this stuff, not just on the pitch, but we're doing it behind the scenes to create a long-term future vision of this club, which is all very nice.
Yeah.
And I like hearing Christian Purslow speak, because he speaks well, he speaks with knowledge, and he really hyped up the importance of the owners and how important they were in the history of Villa when they came in, and how important they are to kind of the future of the club. All of that's very, very nice. What I would have liked to hear, because I know what this piece is, it's a good mood piece showing how good Villa is. What I would have liked for Christian Purslow to do would be to talk a bit more about financial fair play, because that's kind of dominated the window, where it's like, we can't buy anybody, we can't do this.
I think we're at our limit is how I understand it.
Yeah, but I'd really like to hear that from him on how that kind of breaks down and how that works, because he knows so much about it. I think that'd be really useful. The other thing I really want to see is what Eni Aluko actually does, because I think it's a great...
I don't think she started yet.
No, she's in, but she's like... he basically said that the rest of this season she's just going to get up to speed, get to know the women, and get to know the kind of club and the system and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a great appointment.
Yes,
and she's a huge name, but I really hope that she'll be more than just a name. You know, with the Villa women's team are doing great on the pitch, and it'd be brilliant if Eni Aluko does something that's quantitative, that you can see that she's having a real impact in developing that side of the game, especially if they become like a Premier League team next year.
Maybe we can recycle the Villa engine that we didn't use.
Yeah, yeah, that's brand new, isn't it? Essentially, so it's an interesting piece, but there are still. We talked about this kind of last year or the year before when the guys came in, the owners came in, about kind of keeping them honest and us as fans, making sure that they're doing the right thing for the club.
You're not going to get what you want from an in-house good news piece.
No.
It's just not going to happen, is it?
No, it's not. But I agree with everything that Christian Purslow said in the kind of development of the club. They are investing, not just on the pitch, but off it as well, and it's great to see. And he referenced how great the fans have been, and obviously the sold out season tickets and all that kind of stuff. And the Villa as a kind of community club is going in the right direction. The foundation's doing great things.
The foundation are brilliant. The foundation, I would say, the best thing about the club.
Certainly one of them. Yeah. So it's a good interview. It's worth a watch. But there are still questions, which is healthy.
Yeah. Fine.
So go and watch it.
I don't need to know. You've just completely dissected it for me.
Yeah, there you go.
No need for me to log on to Villa TV.
One thing we should say is that the foundation are doing a kit appeal. They're raising. They basically want you to donate kits and stationery, and they're going to be sent to Ghana. Obviously, there's been the big Ghanaian fan base that's kind of come to light in the last couple of months. So the foundation are organising that. I don't know exact details, but we'll retweet them.
We're also doing a 24-hour football match. I noticed.
Oh yeah.
Struggled to do football for an hour, so I'm not sure about a 24 one.
Have you been called up?
Someone not from the foundation. Someone's tweeted me and asked me if I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's the end of March.
Surely
you're not playing for 24 hours. That doesn't seem healthy.
Yeah, I think you do, but you have
the match
subs.
might go on for 24 hours. But if, for example, I was playing, I wouldn't be there for 24 hours, would I?
I don't know. I've never done it.
I'll find out more information about that.
Please.
Yeah.
Please do. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's us, I think.
That is us. Now got a bit of a break, haven't we? Obviously, we can come back next week.
We'll see what we feel like.
but
of course, we can get a podcast organised a week when there's no games. And when there's been games,
smashed it.
Of course, we couldn't do.
Yeah, we are hoping to announce something quite exciting. That's a little tease. Hopefully this week, so we'll put something out on social media if it happens.
I would question whether everyone's going to find that news exciting, but
well, it will be exciting once it's news.
All right,
I hope.
Okay.
You want a way to downplay it.
Just saying.
Really appreciate that. Killing my buzz.
Well,
we need something up after this down at Bournemouth.
That's true. Down podcast. Very down podcast there.
Yeah.
I've got to try to think of a name as well. That was a struggle last week. It was a struggle to think of a name for the podcasts.
I was going to say we could put it out, but by the time this gets there, that won't really work. All right, let's call it a day.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your break from Villa, whatever you're going to do. We'll be back next week, probably.
What's nice is that the players all go on holiday now, which every right they should absolutely be going on holiday to recharge now for their week off. The fans need a holiday.
Yeah.
Let's get the fans on holiday somewhere. That's what we need.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Villa on tour. Villa View on tour?
No.
Oh, I don't know. It's all falling apart. Anyway, stick with the club, stick with the Villa. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.